Welcome to this explainer. So picture this. Every single year, millions of pilgrims travel to Mecca. And when they reach the plains of Mina, this truly remarkable scene unfolds. You have millions of people, all gathering to throw small pebbles at a massive stone wall. It's a strikingly powerful physical ritual, but honestly, it begs a massive question for anyone watching from the outside. Okay, let's dive into this. It's exactly what crosses the mind of so many observers, right? Is the devil actually standing there? Are people literally throwing stones at a physical manifestation of evil? To really understand what is actually happening at Mina, we have to look way past the physical stones and uncover the ancient historical and spiritual origins hidden right behind this act. To get to the root of this, our sources take us far back in time. I'm talking all the way to the celestial realm, long before humanity existed as we know it. There was this highly pious creature named Iblis. According to the historical texts, Iblis was incredibly devoted. His worship was so profound that he was elevated to live right alongside the angels. But everything changed with one single divine command. When the first human, Adam, was created, a directive was given to all the celestial beings to bow down to him. Now, what's really interesting about this is the stark contrast in their origins. Everyone bowed, except Iblis. Why? Well, Adam was created from clay, from the earth, but Iblis was created from fire. He looked at his own fiery origin, compared it to Adam's humble dirt, and concluded, "No way, I am better than him." And that brings us to this absolutely crucial concept, takabur. This term basically translates to a deep, blinding arrogance or ego. It was this singular moment of immense pride that shattered Iblis's legacy of piety. He refused the command purely out of ego, and because of this takabur, he was completely expelled from divine mercy. In that exact moment, the devoted worshipper named Iblis transformed into the entity we know as the Shaytan, or the devil. Upon being cast out, the Shaytan didn't just pack up and leave quietly. He made a chilling vow. As the sources detail, he promised, "I will mislead humans. I will sit on their straight path." His entire existence became dedicated to one terrifying goal: keeping humanity away from their creator. He vowed to make sin look beautiful, to plant little whispers of doubt into human hearts, and to nurture the exact same ego that caused his own downfall. So how does this cosmic rebellion play out in human history? We shift from the celestial realm down to the harsh, earthly desert, specifically to the time of Prophet Ibrahim. Now, Ibrahim was known for an absolutely immaculate record of perfect obedience. Throughout his life, he had submitted to every command without hesitation. But then came the ultimate trial, a test that really defies human comprehension. The command he received was unimaginable. He was asked to sacrifice his beloved son Ismail. Just pause for a second and think about the emotional weight of that on a father. It is the absolute pinnacle of sacrifice, setting up the ultimate test of submission. Will a father's deep love for his child override his obedience to the divine? Despite the crushing heartbreak, Ibrahim chose to bow to the command. As Ibrahim made the agonizing journey toward Mina to carry out this command, the Shaitan saw his perfect opportunity. He appeared as a dark shadow, whispering psychological manipulation directly into Ibrahim's ear. "Are you really going to kill your son? This cannot possibly be a divine command." But Ibrahim instantly recognized the deception. He didn't argue. Instead, he picked up 7 pebbles from the ground and threw them directly at the Shaitan, shouting, "Allahu Akbar." With that decisive physical action, the Shaitan was repelled. But the Shaitan didn't just give up after one attempt. He intercepted Ibrahim 2 more times along the route, trying desperately to break his resolve. And every single time, Ibrahim responded the exact same way, by throwing stones. So the crucial point here is the rule of 3. Shaitan tried to intercept Ibrahim at 3 separate locations, which perfectly maps to the 3 massive physical pillars standing in the plains of Mina today: Jamarat al-Sugra, Jamarat al-Wusta, and Jamarat al-Kubra. And of course, the historical account has a miraculous resolution. When Ibrahim reached the final location and fully committed to carrying out the sacrifice, demonstrating absolute and unquestioning obedience, a divine intervention occurred. At the very last possible moment, Ishmael was replaced by a ram. Ibrahim's unwavering commitment had earned him the ultimate reward. He had passed the impossible test, and his son's life was spared. So how does this ancient desert history connect to the millions of people we see today? Let's bring the narrative right back to the modern day. When we see massive crowds gathered around those 3 pillars in Mina, they're not just acting out a history play. They are connecting to the true message of the pebbles. bridging the gap between Ibrahim's ancient test and their own present reality, which actually answers our very first question. There is no literal devil standing at the wall. The concrete, or the pebble, is a profound psychological metaphor. It is a physical symbol of rejecting sin and, crucially, controlling one's own inner ego, or nafs. When a pilgrim throws that pebble, they're externalizing an internal battle. They're physically casting away their own arrogance, their own temptations, and their own doubts. And this brilliantly illustrates the internal mindset of the ritual. Just imagine the thought process with every single throw. The first stone says, "I won't leave Allah." The next, "I will avoid sin." And finally, "I reject the whispers." Each stone that hits the wall is a personal declaration of independence from the very forces that the Shaitan represents. Let's slow down for a moment here. It's so easy to look at a grand ritual like Hajj and think it's totally disconnected from our daily, ordinary routines. But the lesson of the Jamarat is intensely personal for every single one of us. The Shaitan might not be standing in front of us as a dark shadow in the desert, but the mechanisms of distraction and ego, they are entirely present in our lives right now. If we ground this ancient story in the 21st century, the traps look a bit different, but they function the exact same way. According to the text we're examining, the modern Shaitan approaches us through unchecked anger, through deep, quiet jealousy, and even through the constant glowing distractions of our mobile phones that literally pull our focus away from what truly matters. It's the ego that tells us we are better than someone else, the exact same takabbur that caused Iblis to fall. So what's the core takeaway here? The physical ritual of throwing pebbles at Mina is ultimately meant to prepare us for an ongoing, invisible battle. Hajj reminds us that every single day is a war against those negative forces. Pilgrims leave the physical pillars behind, but they take the mindset of the pebble with them. It is a continuous effort to reject negativity, quiet our ego, and stay on the straight path. We'll end on this incredibly powerful thought from our sources. If the heart is with Allah, no devil in the world can defeat you. When your core is anchored, external distractions simply bounce off. Which leaves us with a critical question to ask ourselves today. If your own inner ego was standing in front of you as a physical pillar right now, what's the first stone you would throw? What truly matters? It's the ego that tells us we are better than someone else, the exact same takabbur that caused Iblis to fall. So what's the core takeaway here? The physical ritual of throwing pebbles at Mina is ultimately meant to prepare us for an ongoing, invisible battle. Hajj reminds us that every single day is a war against those negative forces. Pilgrims leave the physical pillars behind, but they take the mindset of the pebble with them. It is a continuous effort to reject negativity, quiet our ego, and stay on the straight path. We'll end on this incredibly powerful thought from our sources. If the heart is with Allah, no devil in the world can defeat you. When your core is anchored, external distractions simply bounce off. Which leaves us with a critical question to ask ourselves today. If your own inner ego was standing in front of you as a physical pillar right now, what's the first stone you would throw? Keep analyzing, keep learning, and we'll see you next time on The Explainer.